Thank you. Right. Sada vijayate Ramam Ramesham bhaje Ramena bhiyata nishachara chamu Ramaya tasmai namaha Raman nasti parayanam parataram Ramasya dasosmyaham Rame chittale sada bhautame bho Rama mamuddhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattvalyam Rama Nama Varadane Shri Rama Nama Varadana Onnamaiti Atha Shri Maheshwara Sutrani Ayun Rilrak Ayong Ayouch Hayavarat Lan Nyamanga Nanam Javain Garadash Jabagaradash Kapa cha 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 tav kapai shashasar hal iti Maheshwara Sutrani. Okay, so last time we had almost finished this verse 43, which is, I'll read one more time. Vyadidesha ganashotha parshvagan karmuka viharanaya maithilaha tejasasya dhanushaha pravrittaye toyadaniva sahasralochanaha. One more time. As I'll say it one more time, even if you don't know anything at all, just keep on reading loudly, clearly, one letter at a time. Slowly, slowly, it all seep in slowly. It's up to you how much effort and time you want to put in. But you can read these good texts which have no errors in them, and get some familiarity with the language. Get some familiarity with the language. So, Vyadi Desha Ganashotha Pashvagan Karmuka Viharanaya Maithilaha Tejasasya dhanushaha pravrittaye toyadaniva sahasralochanaha. In fact, after you do that, you can even read the commentary the same way. Vyadidesheti atha maithilaha pashvagan purushan karmuka viharanaya karmukam manetum tummarthacha iti chaturthi sahasralochana indraha tejasasya tejomayasya dhanushaha pravrittaye there's a typo there, avirbhavaya toyadan meghaniva ganashaha ganan sankhyaikavachanacha vipsayam iti shas pratyaha vyadidesha rajikaya. Good. So we did this everything last time. We had a couple of homeworks. I had one homework. You had one homework. I don't know if any of you have done the homework. My homework was this word Tejasasya, and the Vyakhyanam on that is Malinatha says Tejasasya is Tejomayasya. Tejomayasya. So we should Tadhyata Prayogaha from the Prajabhadikam Tejas. Now he has not given a sutra number or anything like that. He just says Tejomayasya. This pratyaya is Mayat, which comes in the Ashtadhyayi Mayat. So we can search the Ashtadhyayi. Maybe let's try that. See if we can find the pratyaya mayat. So he's giving what he's telling you is in the same meaning as mayat. Let's see. Mayat is okay. Let's see the next one. Should be around 5.3. No. Okay. Why is it not finding? The one I'm looking for is in 4.3. The sutra number is the one that we want is 43134. Tasya vikaraha. And mayat. Okay, what's happening is it's gone through a sandhi in the sutram. So let me just put it as maya, and we can find this. Sometimes when you search these documents, because it's gone through a sandhi, you don't realize that. Let's try the next one. This is the one that mayat is used. Mayat va etayoho bhashayam abhakshachadanayoho. Mayatva is mayatva. So mayat is used optionally. Etayor means in these two meanings. The two meanings is this vikara and avayavayor. So these in tadhyatas, when you have a tadhyata, you need to know three things. Which prakriti can take this pratyaya? What is the pratyaya? And kasmin arthe? In what meaning? Now, many times all three will not be in one sutram. You have to take one from one sutram. Sometimes Panini might just only give a pratyaya. Sometimes he'll give only a meaning. Sometimes only which we can take it. So this sutram says mayatva. So mayat is a pratyaya. Then etayoho arthayoho. In these two meanings, So those two meanings are coming from the prior few sutram, which is the vikaraha, tasya vikaraha, and also the avayavaha. So it is a part of it or a transformation or modification of something, vikaraha. Okay. So etayoho, you are referring to these two meanings. If you look at the Vyakhyanam, let's go through that for 1 second. 43143. When you do any sutram, you should try to do the padachhedaha and look at the Vyakhyanam quickly. And we have everything now online. Of course, there are some typos here, but besides that, it is available. 43143. No, yeah, okay, let's look at that. It says, okay, there are also some Partha Vedas here. So some of these numbers don't match exactly what we have. I think it's 141 over here. Let's try that. Okay. So prakriti matrat va mayat pratyayo bhavati bhakshachadana varjitayoho vikara avayavayor arthayoho. So in these two meanings. Means the meaning is it should be either a vikaraha or it should be an avayava. Avayava means it should be a part of it, limb, a section, or a vikara. The one we want to know is vikaraha. Bhashayam vishaye. Bhashayam means in is not in amantre, means not in the Vedas, in regular classical Sanskrit. That means bhashayam. Bhashayam means classical Sanskrit, not including Vedas. So yathayatam pratyeshu prapteshu. So what does this mean? Yathayatam pratyeshu prapteshu means it will only be, this mayat only comes optionally. Otherwise, there are other pratyas which have been prescribed. They will also occur, as appropriate. Means yathayatam means as appropriate, as they have been prescribed. They will come, and in optionally you get mayat. So that 43143 is what Malinatha is using in the commentary. When he says tejo mayasya. So this tejo mayasya in the commentary is using 43143. So let's start our document for today. So what we need, in fact, let's go back. What we need is 43134. Tasya vikaraha. No, this only says tasya vikaraha. It only gives the meaning. It doesn't say who can take it. It doesn't say what the pratyaya is also. It doesn't say that. So now how do we know what pratyaya to use when it says tasya vikaraha? So for that we have to go way back, as a matter of fact, to 4.1. In 4.1, Panini has a sutram pragdivyato and. Pragdivyato and. So when Tadita starts from 4176, you have to know a little bit of the topography of Taditas. Okay. So hopefully this will get you some practice. Tadita starts from 4176, and within that, Panini starts this rikara of pragdivyato and. 4183. All this sutram is saying is that from this sutram up to the word divyat, it'll be an pratyaha will be adhikritaha. Means an will be the default pratyaha. If nothing else is said, an will come and present himself as the affix, starting from 4183 up to the word divyat. So if you look at the word divyat, is coming at the beginning of 4.4. We can search for that. For the word divyat, okay, pragdivyato and. Okay, let's see, divyat is coming here. That's 442. Tena divyati khanati jayati jatam. So from that 4183 up to 442. This very nice searching tool that we have. So from 4 up to 442, from 4183, the default pratyaya is an pratyaya. We'll put that in a document maybe. So now you know, and we are in that section. So I'll put that here. So from 4183, from 4183 to 442, the default pratyaya is an pragdivyato an. Default. It's good to know. So that is a large section, from there to there. Default means if anything else is not prescribed, then idyanyah pratyaha vihita nasti chet tarhi an bhavati. An is a pratyaha. So from that we get, just give you a glimpse of it now. So we are right now looking at 43134. Tasya vikaraha. And now Panini did not say which prakriti can take it. So in general, any prakriti that can, can transform itself into something else can take this. He did not say this one can take it, that one cannot take it, and so on and so forth. Okay. So tasya vikara sutram we can use along with pragdivyato and to get the pratyaya an from the word tejas. From the word tejas. So now below these there are specific rules which talk about different other pratyas you can come. But when they are not prescribed, then we come tasya vikaraha we can use. In fact, let's look at that. So not to spend too much time on this, but let's look at one more thing. Let's look at the vyakhyanam for tasya vikaraha. See, what it says is that kim iha udaharanam. What can be the example for this sutram, tasya vikaraha? Of course, the example here will be when no other specific pratyaya is prescribed. That's the example for this sutram. So, it says apranyadi udattam avruddham yasya cha na anyat pratipadam vidhanam. What this means is that, a little bit technical language, if you look a little bit below here, Panini has given specific rules where other pratyas will come for specific pratipadika. Okay. And here he has given this prani. So the prani is coming where one of the sutram down here must be for prani. Yes, here the prani. Prani aushadhi vrikshebhya. So here specific things are mentioned. This is aprani when it's not in this list, right? And then udattam, because below that he also sutram anudatta adeshcha. Something else is coming here. The pratyaya ay is coming for that. And then he says avruddham. Avruddham, because that also has a specific rule, vruddha sharadibhya nityam. So basically what this means is that these specific items have specific pratyas prescribed from them. When none of these are coming, when our word tejas is not in any of these specific items. So therefore we go back to the default, tasya vikaraha, bring in the pratyaya an from way back from there, pragdivyato an, and then we get the word taijasaha. So finishing so we have to use 53134. So tejas is tejas plus nyas plus an. But the sutram says tasya vikaraha. Tasya means it is, there's a shashti there. So shashti samarthat. So shashti, so just to put tejas plus nyas plus an, 43134. And after that, all we have to do is that when we get a tadhita form, it gets a pratipadika sanya. See, we've seen this many times. Because of krit tadhita samasascha. Krit tadhita samasascha. 1, 2, 46. Krit tadhita samasascha. And when you get a pratipadika sanya, then supo dhatu pratipadika yoho. Within the pratipadikam, the sup is elided. The very common steps for all tadhita that we use. In fact, we use the same steps for samasas also. The moment you do a samasa or a tadhita prayogaha, you can immediately do krit tadhita samasascha pratipadika sanya. And then supo dhatu pratipadika yoho, you get the antarvatni supaha look. So antarvati supaha look. So antarvati supaha means the sup which is inside that, inside the pratipadikam. So that nyas this is going to go away by these two rules. And so we now get, and so let's do that. Antarvartinaha supaha look. Antarvartinaha supaha look, which means that you can now do tejas plus an. So what we did here was we did supo dhatu pratipadikayo. First we did krit tadhita samasascha and then supo dhatu pratipadikayo. Please try to repeat these rules as many times as you can. They stick in your head because I've heard them 10,000 times. You'll also hear them 1,000 times. So you can then keep on, recalling them very quickly. The last thing to do here is only the adi vriddhi. What's called the adi vriddhi. Tadhiteshu achamadehe. Tadhiteshu achamadehe means even if tadhita pratyaya follows the adi ach, the first ach takes vriddhi. When does that happen? That happens when this pratyaya here, tadhita pratyaya, has either this cha varga panchama na as an it, or it has the cha varga panchama nya as an it, or the ka as an it by chiti. The last two rules of 7.2. The last two rules of 7.2. Let's go to 7.2. the last two rules talk about this Adi Vriddhi in Tadyatas. I think it's 7-2, I think 117, 118, I think. Oh, that's correct. Tadyateshu Achamadehe and Kiticha. These two rules tell you that in a Tadyata, if a Tadyata Pratyaya is following, Tadyateshu, Pratyeshu Parataha. When a Pratyaya is Tadyata Pratyaya, and as we already saw already, that is 4176, Adhikar Tadyataha, goes to in the 5th chapter. That's one of the big sections of Ashtadhyayi from 4176 to end of chapter 5. It has more than 1,000 rules. It has more than one quarter of Ashtadhyayi is the Tadyataha. So, and if one of those pratyas is following, which has either these two as a niti, which is anuvritti is coming down, this nya or na, or kiticha, the ka as in it. So these three. Then the adi ach takes vriddhi. So adehe acha sthane vriddhir adesha bhavati. So then 72117, we can do that, and of course vriddhir adech, we get the form taij. So of course in the pratyaya an by halantyam, the na is in it. So we get the form taija saha. Taija saha. So we are using 72117. Tadyateshu achamadehe. Very, very common sutra. Like for example, you see Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. Arsha Vidya. Rishi Sambandhi. So that Arsha is the Vriddhi of Ru. Urandaparaha becomes Arsha Vidya. Shankara Bhashyam. So Shankara Bhashyam means you say Shankara becomes Shankaraha. And so on and so forth. Very with Bhagavata Puranam. So Bhagavata becomes Bhagavata Puranam. So all these places, it's very common sutram 72117. Now, if you look at Malinasa's commentary, then we will use that next rule. Next means one below, which is the 43143, where he has used the word mayat. So why did he do that? Why did Malinasa do that to replace this one with mayat? Let's go back there for a second. See what is he trying to tell us? Because all he did was he took that word taijas, and of course he maintained the same vibhakti, shashti ekvacham, that's siya pratyaha, but he just made taijasa into tejo maya. Now what's the point of doing that? The point of doing that is that, as we just saw, is that the taijasa is taking the pratyaya an. Now an comes in so many meanings, really many meanings. Because all the way from that 4180, whatever it was, up to 442, an is the default. So this could be any one of meanings. What he's telling us is that this is the meaning of mayat, tejo mayasya. So this an has been used in the meaning of mayat, is what Mulinath is telling us. Sometimes these commenters, what they say, we don't understand what they're saying. So because every statement that they make has a significance to it. So tejo mayasya, now we know exactly where to look, because now this pratyaya mayat is coming over here. We know that. So then from here we can then work back to 43143, and with tasya vikara we can take it. So that's what he's basically anchoring us down here to 43143, because here mayat is being used. So then from here we can easily work back to 43134, tasya vikara. So 43143, as we saw, mayat va etayoho arthayoho. So mayat comes optionally in bhashayam, via bhashayam only, non-Vedic. And there are some exclusions here. We don't need to look at that for time being. So now, if you want to use Mulinatha's commentary, then what we want to use here is we want to use the same word tejas and add the pratyaya mayat by 43143. Let's do that. So 43143. Go to the document and we'll finish this one off. Anyway, this was my homework. So I think I did that one. Tejas, again the same process. We had the tasya vikaraha. This mayat can come in two meanings, but it's coming here in tasya vikara, so shashti. And here the pratyaya is mayat. Mayat. And so now, so this is 43143. 3143. And here the same thing. We remove the antarvarti pratyaya, which is nyas, by krit tadita samasascha, along with supo dhatu pradipadikayoho. That is gone. So we got mayat. The only thing, this sandhi will be same sandhi like namo narayanaya sandhi. Don't forget this tejas also as pada sanya, because this nyas pratyaya came and went. So pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam. Pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam. When pratyaya comes and goes, it leaves its mark behind. So you can still use the sutram supting antam padam. So pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam supting antam padam can still be used to give this tejas the padasanya. Tejas has padasanya by tejas. Even back here tejas had padasanya, but there was no padakaryam. There was no karyam as such here because the actually I take that back. How come tejas didn't have padasanya back there then? So, because there we had tejas plus and. So, what happened? Why did we not make it like shivoham? Shivoham. Anybody in the class can tell me? So, if tejas has padasanya back here also, because we had tejas plus and. So because this nyas pratyaya came and went, so this tejas is padasanya. So why did we not make it like shivoham sandhi? Because shivas plus aham becomes shivoham. So how come we just join these together? So what is the difference between shivoham, shivas aham plus aham, and this one, tejas plus an? Is there any difference? Why did this become like like tejas? So if you take shivas plus aham, it doesn't become shivasaham. Shivasam, it doesn't become shivasaham. It becomes shivoham. Okay, what happened here was this pratyaya an also is following. This pratyaya an is a swadi pratyaya. Swadi means that you start from 412, su out, just out, start from there up to the end of chapter 5 is this what are called su adi pratyaya. Means beginning from su etc. up to chapter 5. Okay, so su out, just out, etc. from 412 up to end of chapter 5. Now we brought the pratyaya an from what sutram? We brought it from 43143. Tasya vikaraha. So we are in this, so that pratyaya an is a swadi pratyaya. Okay. When you do shivoham, that aham is not any swadi pratyaya. It's a pruthak padam, separate padam. But here when the an came, there was swadi pratyaya. So then if you look at the in 1.4, 1.4.18, sutram yachibham. Yachibham says that, and the anuvritti of the entire Paraya Sutram comes down for that. Swadishva saranama sthane. If you have a swadi pratyaya following, and it's beginning with a ya or an ach, or pratyaya an was beginning with an ach, then the angam will get the bhasanya, which will overrule the padasanya. Because another reason for that is that normally sanyas do not overrule each other. Sanyas don't really overrule each other. They can coexist. For example, the anga sanya can exist with the padasanya, maybe a bhasanya can coexist. But here in 141, Panini has a sutram a kadara eka sanya. So up to the word kadara, which comes in the end of 2.2. So there are two sanyas defined in this section from 141 to end of 2.2. Then only one of those sanyas can stay. So here we have a back-to-back definition of padasanya and bhasanya. So 4.1.14 had suptingantam padam. Then we had swadishva saranama sthane and yachibham. So yachibham is going to overrule the padasanya when it comes. So what is happening here is that even though tejas had the padasanya to begin with, but an came, and this an is a ajadi pratyaya, which is a swadi pratyaya. So then the bhasanya bumped this out and we went back to, so the padasanya was lost for tejas. But here we have tejas plus mayat. Here this is not going to come under the domain of yachibham. This requires, pratyaya yakaradi or ajadi. So the bottom line is this padasanya which came by suptingantam padam, pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam, that is going to stay. So now the sandhi karyam will be same as namas narayanaya becomes namo narayanaya. So you're going to use sasajushoruho, and then you're going to use the hashicha. Just put the numbers down and we can look at them. Sasajushoruho will make it tejaru and make it hashicha. So we have teja plus the ru is a special rekha, and then we have in mayat, of course, the ta is in it by halantyam. So we have this plus maya. So we use sasajushoruho, and then we use hashicha. Hashicha I think is 61114 is hashicha. 61114. What they're saying is that is ataha. If it's following a short a and a hush letter is if the ru is following a short a and following the ru we have a hush letter. So what do we have right now? We have the teja ru plus mayat. So prior to the ru is akaraha between here, and following the ru is the makaraha, which is a hush letter. Haya varat lan ngamanganam javai. So this one hush means basically soft consonants. All this mrudu varnaha is called hush. So this makara is a hush varnaha, and prior to the ru we have an akaraha. So hashicha is going to come and make this into a ukaraha. Ukaraha hashicha. So we get teja u. Teja u, and then we have mayat. Mayat. The question very quickly is that how come we went back from the Tripadi Karyam to go into Sapada Saptadhyaya? Normally we cannot do this. Once we go and apply a sutram in 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, we cannot come back and apply sutram in Sapada Saptadhyaya. Reason we came back for this was that because this sutram hashicha, it depends on the ru coming in. If it cannot see the ru pratyaha, the ru adesha I should say, then it will never apply. And the ru adesha only comes by sasajusho ruhu, 8.266. So by that vachana samarthya, the fact that Panini is putting hashicha sutram over here, which is dependent on the ru being there, it must be allowed to see the sasajusho ruhu, 8.266. Otherwise, sutram yartam syat. So this sutram will be useless. So on that basis alone, we came back and applied hashicha after doing 8.266, because this sutram depends on the ru being there, and if it cannot see the ru, it will never apply. Never apply. So when a sutram is in the condition of never applying, means it doesn't have what's called avakasha. Avakasha means there's an opportunity to apply. If it doesn't have an opportunity to apply anywhere, it has to be made savakasha. So that's what we are doing. And then, of course, then we do ad gunaha. So a plus u becomes o, come tejo maya. Ad gunaha is, of course, 6187. That completes that form. Tejo maya. Tejo maya. So tejo maya. So 6187. Ad gunaha. Okay, so that is the two ways which we have used as this pratyamaya. So Mulinatha gave us the form tejo maya. So we can go and get the proper meaning of mayat, which is coming over here. And then we can then understand this pratyaya. An is using the same meaning, which is tasya vikaraha, consisting of a modification of like chinmayananda, that's a chinmaya. Same is mayat, tasya vikaraha. It is a modification of consisting of that. Okay, so that was one homework, and this is an adjective qualifying dhanushaha. So this is the rainbow, right? It's a rainbow, indradhanuh. So it is a bow consisting of light, a bow made of light. Tejasasya dhanushaha pravruttaye. Okay, last thing we are looking at in the previous class was the one prajighaya. Prajighaya. Anybody found the answer to this? What is the dhatu in prajighaya? Prajighaya. Anybody? This is a difficult one because of the fact that the original dhatu's consonant is not to be seen in this prayoga. So prayoge dhatoho hal na drishyate. It's not to be seen. Because in the abhyasa bhaga something has happened to it. Uttara bhaga also something happened to it. So you cannot see. Okay, dhatu is he. He is to send. Then hinoti means to send. I think this dhatu may not be in the Gita, I'm not sure, but I think this is probably not in the Gita. It's in Devi Mahatyam now, Prahinoshi Shastram, chapter 4. Now Navratri is coming up, right? Navratri is coming up. You're going to hear Devi Mahatyam a few times. So chapter 4 it is there, Prahinoshi. Means to send. Prahi means to send, dispatch, to dispatch. So Vyadidesha means he ordered, means he dispatched, is what this commentary is saying. Vyadidesha prajighaya. Okay, let's bring our abhyasa karye naipunyam praptaha. Vasu Mahodaya. Yes, Vasu.
Namaste ji, I'm very afraid you would do that.
Swayam Jayate. Bhavan Sarvam Janati Abhyasakari. Okay. Alright, so let's so Vasu is the Abhyasa Samrat.
Having said he, the immediate thing is he.
Okay, let's go through step by step. First of all, thing is that the para is upasarga, we leave it out of the equation. It's a pruthak padam. And then remember one more thing, that tingantam na samasyate. Tingantas, they are not samasas, so it's a separate padam. Now, you take the first step, everybody in the class should know, is the dhatu plus lakaraha. So lit, I'm sorry, not lit, lit. Lit lakar is what we have. Now, what Vasu did for us was, he already applied the sutram, which says that actually even before we go there, what we should really do is remove the it letters by halantyam, upadesha junanasika it. So for in lakara that you have, immediately remove the it letters and to leave only the la behind. So lakaraha. Even the la technically should have been an it by lashak patadite. But if you do that, there has two problems with that. First of all, every it has to have a prayojanam. If you keep la as an it over here, tasya prayojanam nasti. So prayojana bhavat, lakara se it sanya na bhavati. Because there is no prayojanam, lakar doesn't, the la doesn't get the it sanya. Lashak patadite. Second reason is that if you start doing that, then Panini has sutram lasya. Lasya adhikara Panini runs in 3,478, and that will also won't have meaning because there Panini is replacing the la with this various pratyas, tiptas, ji, etc. So now if you make the la as an it, then this lasya will become kind of useless. So on basis of that, even though lashak patadite applies, this lakara sit sanya nasti. Okay, so we leave la behind. And then vivaksha anusarena, as per the intention of the speaker, we have to bring one of these 18 pratyas. These are always the first three steps in any lakara prakriya. Is bring the lakara, remove the its, leave the la behind lakara, and then replace that la with one of these 18 pratyas. Right now in the commentary also I mentioned to you a few times is the tikakaraha will maintain the same vachana and purusha. So what do we have? We had vyadidesha. In fact, here he has maintained the same lakaraha, the same purusha, pratham purusha, eka vachanam. Okay, so he has maintained all three. All what he has done, so he has told us that we are this is used in the meaning of prahi. We'll put the document. So we are this. What Kalidasa had was we are this. So, so maybe I'll put that here. So from the commentary, Mulinatha is saying that we plus are plus this is what is being used by Kalidasa. That is the meaning, has the meaning of pra plus he. Okay, that's what he's telling us. So he converted this one to this one. So he maintained the same lakaraha. So we have pratham purusha ekvachanam. As I mentioned to you in lit lakaraha, because of sutram parokshe lit, lit only comes parokshe, anadhyatane bhute. It's a past tense, which is not the recent past. It's not been experienced by the speaker. That being the case, it's going to be like once upon a time. So with that also being the case, it will be used 99% only in third person. Only in third person you use lit lakaraha, which makes our life very easy, because that means that we can only use this tiptas ji or ta atam ja. 99%. In Gita, one place we have lit in the first person, but that is kind of rare. Only one place in Gita we have anushrushruma. Arjuna says anushrushruma. In fact, people have criticized him for that. People say Arjuna forgot his Vyakarana class when he came to fight the battle. Anyway, 99% third person. Okay, so tiptasji, and now in place of tiptasji comes this pratyas parasya padanam nal atus thal atus nalvamaha. It's also something which I mentioned to you. Maybe this will keep this like the fourth step for us. So first step, in the lakar lit. Second step, remove the it letters. So halantyam upadesha jananasika, leave the la behind. Third step, apply 3,478. Which means bring the tiptasji, whatever the pratyaya might be, yatha yogyam, vivakshanusarena, as per the intention of the speaker, whatever he wants to say, what he intended to convey. Then the next step is that go to the rest of 3.4. The rest of 3.4 from Lasya Adhikara, all these sutras over here, what they are doing is that they're replacing this tip tasji or modifying it in some way based on the lakara. So lakara sambandhi parivartanam. So that should be finished off right there. So basically this 3.4.78, when you tip tasji, when you do, immediately look at the rest of 3.34. Up from it's about, whatever about 25, 30 rules are there. And they are specific to lakaras. So this lakara do this lakara do that. So those should be finished off right here. So don't leave this tip tasji hanging there. Just see if anything here, there may be nothing applying. But you should look at those rules immediately and then finish off that work. And then in the nitya karyam, these rules have to be applied. There's no other way to, nothing can really stop them as a general rule. So for us, we have one rule over here. So in fact, okay, let's go step by step. Let's put the tip pratyaya here. We had let's leave the pra behind. So we can now just do he plus tip. Okay, and so this was we applied 3.4.78. And immediately what we can do is that the next work is to look at the list of 3.4 and yatha yogyam karyam kartavyam. So what we have now is that we have sutram which says pranasya padanam nalatus us thalatus nalvamaha. Okay, so in parasya padam the yatha sankham respectively tip tasji etc. become null, atus, us etc. And I said only, as we said, 99% only third person. So only whatever the first three tip tasji, they become null, atus, us. Tip tasji becomes null, atus, us. Bhagavad Gita in chapter 1 itself, you have all three of them, null, atus, us. So let's go to Gita for a second. I hope you're all using this nice online version of Gita. Thanks to Kalpesh and Ravi, we have that. So in 1.1 itself we have, so here we have, okay, so Uvacha is there. Uvacha. Pratyaya null is right in the very first Dhritarashtra Uvacha. That's the Pratyaya null for you. Then in 1.14, you have the Pratyaya Atus, Pradadmatuhu, the dual form. Madhava Pandavaschaiva. So these two of them. Dad Pradadmatuhu, they blew their conches to Dadmatuhu. And then in 1.18, you have Dadmuhu. So all three you have in the very first chapter of Gita. Null, Atus, Us. Remember these, please, very easy to spot. In fact, if you go to Raghuvamsham, here we have, you can see this ending over here, this akara over here, this akara over here, and abhyasakaram drishyate, right? Tasmat jatiti jnatum shakyate. I am lit prayogaha asti iti. We can quickly realize this is a lit prayogaha. Patsam purushasya ekvachana rupam asti. So this is going to be the third person singular lit. Parasya padam pratyayatra vidyate, because this is going to be pratyaya null. So this can quickly recognize that. So in any case, going back to the Ashtadhyayi, we have used 3.4.82 being a null pratyaya. Okay, this is what needs. So this is the pratyaya null. So in the null we have chutu and halantyam. So when you bring the pratyaya null, we now get he plus null, and we can now remove it the it letters by chutu halantyam. The pratyayadi chavarga tavarga itsyat, and halantyam, of course you all know the ending hal is an it. So tasya lopaha. So 137, 133. And now we can do what Vasu was saying. Vasu was saying is that, so this has to be done first. Okay, one more time, repeat the 4 steps. First step, what is the lakara? Second step, remove the it letters, leave the la behind. Third step, apply 3.4.78. Fourth step, you scan the remaining of 3.4 and see if anything else is going to transform the pratyaya right there based on the lakara which you have. Once you use 4 steps, now you got the basic thing down. Now what Vasu was saying is that abhyasa karyam. Now in Ashtadhyayi, there are only really 4 main rules. Only 4 main rules that Panini says where to do abhyasaha. And they are these rules over here. Liti dhaturunabhyasasya. Liti dhatoho. Liti dhaturunabhyasasya. Lit pratyaya follows. Dhatu takes abhyasa one time. Anabhyasasya means ekavaram, only one time. So, Liti dhatoho anabhyasasya. Then sanyangoho, that's for the desiderative forms and the frequentative forms, like chikir, shuhu and all that. And leliya say comes in Gita. Then shlau, that's the third gana vikaranam, like juhoti, etc. And changi is a special form of the lung lakara. So these four rules, 6, 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, where the abhyasa vidhanam. Of course, there's a special below there, but these are the four main ones. And the very first one is liti dhatur anabhyasasya. So we can now use this sutram and do the abhyasa karyam. And abhyasa means that the ach will take abhyasa, and on either side the consonants go with it. So we get, this is what Vasu was saying, and so we use 618. Now at this point we call Vasu and then ask him what he can do for us in the abhyasa bhaga. In the abhyasa bhaga. Those rules are coming in 7.4. In 7.458, I think starts atra lopo bhyasasya. Atra lopo bhyasasya. And this anuvritya of abhyasasya goes to end of 7.4. So this is what the rules that Vasu is being invoked for. So Vasur ahutaha asmabhihi yachitaha. He's been begged by us to give us the okay, Vasu. You want to try Vasu? What you want to apply now? Let's go to Rasva. Rasva means the vowel become. We already have Rasva.
We already have Rasva.
No, halad is
halad is.
That also is fine because we have only one hal.
One hal in there.
It is already an adi in the adi position.
I'm wondering whether we have to use kuhosh chuhu here.
Very good. Kuhosh chuhu. Kuhosh chuhu says if you have a ka varga, which we don't have, but we do have the hakaraha, so they will become a cha varga. Which one will you choose? So between the cha varga, cha, cha, ja, ja, there is
the fourth group.
Fourth one, because the hakara is a mrudavarna. That means cha, cha are out. Only have left with ja, ja, nya. The nya has a nasal component which will not match the hakara. Remaining is only number 3 jakara, number 4 jakara. Within that, the hakara is a mahaprana. So therefore, you can use a number 4 letter ja. So kuhosh chu is correct. So 7462
becomes jihi.
G. He.
Yeah, jihi.
7462. Okay, there's one more karyam is abhyasa karyam is there, which is not in this section. Which is that, Vasu?
Abhyase church comes.
Abhyase church. We cannot do it right now because that is a tripadi karyam. We have to wait until we go to that one. But abhyase church is coming in 8454. There's one sutram which does abhyasa karyam, which is not in this section in 7.4. So that's why we have to wait till we do that. That's going to remove the prana basically. What that does is that in place of jalam, anuvritti of jalam is coming down. You get the adesh of either char or jash. It goes to number 1 column or number 3 column or the 5 by 5 matrix, all the 5 by 5. It goes to column 1 or column 3. Right now we have a column 4 letter, Chaturtha Varna we have. We have right now ja. It's going to go to the jash. It's going to go to column 3. It's going to become jakara. So, but that we'll wait for that abhyasa charcha. We'll do it later. It will not make a difference in this case, but we have to wait till we get there. Now we are slowly getting somewhere because here we have prajiga. At least we got the abhyasa right. So this is what I'm telling you is that if you know the abhyasa karyam, then you can quickly verify. If the dhatu is he, then yes, the abhyasa karyam is abhyasa bhagaha samyak bhavati. It's going to fit. These are only very few rules which Vasu was talking about. There are about only 4 or 5 rules if you know here in the abhyasa karyam. Then you can start using that. Is rasvaha, haladi sheshaha, kuhosh chuhu, and urat. Even if you know just these 4, These four only. This 59, 60, 61, and 66. Sorry, 59, 60, 62, and 66. Okay. So we got the Abhyasa Bhaga. Now, of course, depending on the application of Abhyasa, etc. So one more thing we can do is we can do the Vriddhi of this Ikaraha. Vriddhi of the Ikaraha by the Sutram Achoniti. So this one should be known. See, so far, we have not really used any Vishesha Vidhi, for the Dhatu Hi. These are all general rules. So those all we should know. We have not done anything specific for Dhatu Hi as yet. There's only going to be one rule we're going to apply. It's going to be a Vishesha Vidhi, special rule. All the other rules are already known to us. So what are we doing now? Now we are doing this karyam of doing the Adi Vriddhi, which is not Adi Vriddhi, I'm sorry, not Adi Vriddhi, Achoniti. Achoniti is the, in fact, you know what, let's go in the right order. Before doing that, because this is 7.2, we need a rule in 7.3, which is going to do the Kavarga Adeshaha. Now that we got the Abhyasa Bhaga right, what we can do is look at the final answer. The answer is Ji Ghaya. The Praji, we already got this. We're going to get the word Ghaya. If you can do the Vriddhi of that Ikaraha by Achoniti, we're going to get the I. We're going to do Echo Yavayavaha, get the Aya. So we got pra, ji, aya we got. Only thing we need is to get this hakaraha into a kavarga adesha. If we can do that, then we got the answer. So this is the fun of kind of you reverse engineer this form, reverse engineer them, because you got the one part, you got praji. We're going to get the aya because we're going to apply achoniti and echo yavayavaha. All we need now is the kavarga adesha, and for that we know that the Kavarga section is starting from 7352. Chajoho ku ghinyatoho. The typo here should be ghinyatoho. In this section, there is a Kavarga Adesha prescribed. Chajoho ku. Kavarga Adesha. And sure enough, there is a sutram here, Herachangi. So that was the rule. If you had, even if you didn't know this rule, if you can guess the dhatu is he because of the meaning. Then come down here, and this Herachangi is a special rule, which gets you, what this says is that Abhyasa, anavritti of coming down from here. So following an Abhyasa, which we do have, because Purva Abhyasa in the 6th, when we did the Abhyasa Karyam there in 6.1, there is a sutram which says Purva Abhyasa. This Pura Bhaga is called Abhyasa. So right now our Abhyasa Bhaga is this Ji, Abhyasa. So Abhyasat, following Abhyasa, we have the Dhatu Hi. We have that over here. So following Abhyasa, we have it. And then the Pratyaya should be following is, let me go down there, should be Achangi. Should be not the Pratyaya Chang. This Chang Pratyaya comes only in the Lung Lakara. We don't have that right now. So we can use this sutram here, Achangi, to say that this is going to take a Kavarga Adeshaha. One more time, he is a shashti of the he, like harehe. So in place of he, you do now abhyasach is a panchami. So adef parasya. Let's spend 1 minute on that. Normally, when you do any adesha, you say alontyasya. Means only the ending al will take an adesha. We don't want that because we have the dhatu he right now. We want to make the adesha in place of the he, on the place of the hakara, not the ikara. So we don't want to replace. If you do alone gesture, then only the ikara will be replaced by the cover. It will not make any sense. Adesha in place of he with. So how do we know that now? Because look at the anuvritti of abhyasat is coming. This is panchami abhyasat. So let's look at 1152, which gives us alone gesture as a paribhasha rule. This is the utsarga, means is the default alone gesture. Okay, but then the apavada is adef parasya. What is panchami is telling you is that do the karyam tasmaditi uttarasya. So when Panini uses the panchami, he's telling you do the karyam following this term, to the right hand side of this, do the karyam there. And when that is said, then the adesha takes place of the adehe parasya. So whatever is following the para, tasya adehe sthane, adesha bhavati. So that is the thing. So even though alone tasya is the default rule for any adesha, this sutram says if the adesha has been prescribed to be parasya of a following term, it should be adehe parasya of the first, so 1154. So we are right now using 7356 anuvritti of abhyasat, and the panchami is telling you tasmaditi uttarasya. It should be the following term. So we now, so even though the sutram says he in place of dhatu he, place of he, if the pratyaya chung is not following, which we don't have right now, and the abhyasa is preceding, replace it with ka varga. And we use adeh parasya to make only the hakara of he into the ka varga. Now, as Vasu already told us, the hakara is a mrudu varnaha, it is mahapranaha, so we have the choice ka, ka, ga, ga, nga. It is going to take the chaturtha varnaha, which is the ga adesha. So that solves the puzzle for us. So we use 7356, and that was the problem in this. Problem is the difficult thing was the abhyasa has taken the kuhosh chuho, and the uttara bhaga took the herachangi. So unfortunately, the hakara was not to be seen in the final form. That's what made it hard to decipher this form, is that the hakara was not to be seen in the final form. So we got G, G, and the so we used herachangi along with the paribhasha rule adef parasya, we got this, and now just about is shesham karyam, sukaram karyam shesham. Remaining work is easy because samanya niyamaihi kartum shakyate, samanya niyamaihi kartum shakyate. We can do it with the regular rules, nothing special. We apply the achoniti because the pratyaya an has ners, pratyaya null I should say has ners in it. We can use achoniti, make this now into G ghai, G ghai plus this is 72115 achoniti, and then we can do echo yava yavaha, make it into G ghaya echo yava yavaha, and then finally we do abhyase charcha, make it into jighaya. This was the form of abhyase charcha. Now, how do you try to decipher this form if you don't know any of these rules? One way to do is you search for it. Search for the form jighaya. We have many searchable texts now available. And if you can get it, what we're trying to get also is the entire Kashika searchable. We're going to have it soon now. It is available. We have to do some work to upload it to the site. If we had done that, we would have been lucky, because the form jighaya is coming in the Kashika. Look at 7356 in the Kashika. You will see the form jighaya. 7356, the form jighaya is coming there. So because see, he gives the form jighaya somewhere here. Jighaya, prajighaya. In fact, he gives from prajighaya itself. He gives. So if he had a searchable Kashika, you could search for the prajighaya. Also, you can look in the Madhya Dhatu Vritti. In the Madhya Dhatu Vritti, if that was searchable, you can look at there also. That gives all the verbal forms. So, and one more thing, as I said, you can try the different dhatus. If the dhatu was he, what would have happened? If the dhatu was he, even though this, because as I said, this was a difficult one because the kuhosh chuhu removed the haka and the abhyasa bhaga, did the adesha, the kavarga adesha, the chavarga adesha, and in the uttara bhaga, abhyasa anuvritti coming down, and herachangi did the kavarga adesha. So unfortunately, hakara was lost in both places. This by kuhosh chuhu and this by herachangi. So therefore, you could not decipher this form. But you could have recognized the ending is a lit lakaraha. You could recognize, kuhosh chuhu is there. So you can try different dhatus. What you can do is keep on trying different dhatus, which will give the abhyasa of G. There are not many of them. There will not be many. If you go through dhatu partha and look at them, there will not be many of them. Maybe there will be 5 or 10. So, and among that, if you can hit on the dhatu he, you can get the form. Okay, let's continue. So that was the homework from last time. I think we can finish this. I think we already did last time the Anuvadaha for this. So one more time. It's a simple sentence. Maithilaha vyadidesha prajigaya. See, our job in this class is to understand what Malinatha is saying. Okay. And sometimes if you cannot understand, of course, we'll try to. Some of these might be a little bit difficult. But if you can understand what the Tikakara is saying, then you can read any text, including the Vedic text you can read. Because if you can understand what the Tikakara is saying, what Bhashyakara is saying, then of course that gives you the entrance to the Mula Patha. The rest of it is easy. So Maithilaha Janakaha Vyadidesha, he ordered. So you got always when you Tingantam Padam is Vyadidesha Prajigaya, he ordered. He ordered whom? Pashvagan. Pashvagan is one who's on the side. In English you can say sidees, but not sidees means attendants. So he orders attendants to Ganashaha, means group by group, certain numbers by numbers he ordered. And for what? Karmuka abhiharanaya. Abhiru means to bring. Anetum. Also one more technique you can do. Replace these words from the shloka with the tika. Make life easy for them. No shame in that. That's very good. Just replace. If you don't know the word abhiharanaya, just say anetum. Very simple. You know the word anetum is to bring. Ani is to bring. So, to bring the bow. You know there is of course this Kalidasa trademark. You have the iva in the second line here. Upama is coming. Upama Kalidasasya. So now match the vibhaktis which you did last time. In the upama upameya always match the vibhaktis. So you know who is being compared to whom. There's no confusion. So we had Maithila is the Prathama. Now, as I mentioned to you also, is that the lingam and vachanam may not match. Vibhakti has to match, but the linga vachanam may not match. In this case, you have Maithilaha and Sahasralochanaha Indraha. He has 1,000 eyes. I guess he got the curse from Gautama Muni. He just got his 1,000 eyes, so to speak. So Janaka has been compared to Sahasralochanaha Indraha. Okay, and then this Toyadan is the Dvitiya Vochanam like Pashvagan, being compared to the Pashvagan is compared to Toyadan, which is the clouds. And then other thing we have is Dhanushaha Pravruttaye is Chaturthi Vibhakti is here Chaturthi Pravruttaye Chaturthi Pravrutti. And here we had Abhiharanaya. This is what I mean. This Abhiharanaya is like Vanaya. This is Napusakalingam. This one down here is Strilinga Prayogaha. But it doesn't matter. This is Chaturthi, So that he ordered, just like Indra orders the clouds in order to display the rainbow. To bring about the rainbow, so to speak. Similarly, Janaka ordered his attendants to bring the bow. And this is going inside a compound, but this Karmuka, behind this Karmukam is to be compared with this rainbow. But that's in a compound, so but that part is kind of obvious, So we did, I think we did the translation last time. Maybe we can bring the Nagaraj. Nagaraj, you ready?
Namaste ji.
Namaste. Okay, let's do the translation. In the wrong place. I think it's on the other page. 1 second. Okay, King of Mithila, who is that?
Maithilaha.
Then I think it's Atha, this sloka. Atha. Then is Atha. Okay. Then ordered. What is the word?
Vyadidesha.
Prajigaya. His attendant host.
Pashvagan.
Now I think this. Okay, to bring the bow.
Abhiharanaya.
No,
Karmukan Abhiharanaya.
So Karmuka Abhiharanaya.
Karmuka Abhiharanaya.
So Karmuka is the bow Abhiharanam. And I think this Ganashaha, the Gana is the host, like parties, troops, So Ganashaha, I think that is in this word host, host. As is Iva. And then we have Indra is Sahasralochana.
Sahasralochana.
And orders One more thing, as I mentioned to you last time, many times before, is that Tingantam Padam will not be repeated on both sides, okay? So you have to bring the same Padam down here in the Upama also. So what we have is the order is coming from the same Yadidesha.
Yadidesha.
The clouds is Toyadan.
Toyadan.
To show.
To Pravrittaye.
Pravrittaye. Pravrittaye. To bring about. Pravritti. Pravritti means to engage, to bring about. His fiery. What's fiery?
Tejasasya.
Tejasasya. And bow is Dhanushaha.
Dhanushaha.
Dhanushaha. So Tejasasya Dhanushaha Pravrittaye. Okay, good. So this is what we were doing, finishing up last time. Let's go to the next verse, see what we find. I hope you're finding it slightly easier now. If you don't understand all the grammar, it's okay. At least try to get some gist of it, get some vocabulary, get some, basic ideas when you come back. Okay. Tat prasupta bhujagendra bhishanam viksha dashrathir adade dhanuh vidruta kratu mrganusarinam yena banam sujad vrishadvajaha. One more time. Tat prasupta bhujagendra bhishanam viksha dashrathir radade dhanuh vidruta kratu mrganusarinam yena banam sujad vrishadvajaha. Asujad vrishadvajaha. So banam sujad vrishadvajaha. So tat prasupta bhujagendra bhishanam viksha dashrathir radade dhanuh vidruta kratu mrganusaranam yena banam sujad vrishadvajaha. So Padacheda, you can also look at the commentary. It is already done for you down here. Just let's look at that. Dashrathi, there's a sandhi going on here. Sandhi going on here. What's happening here is that it should be Dashrathi Ramaha. So here we do the usual Dashrathis plus Ramaha, Sasajushoruho. And then what happens is that when you have this ra back to back, you get Sutram Rori. Rori says when you have two refas back to back, the prior refa takes lopaha. And then what happens is that when that happens, by 63111, the vowel prior becomes dirgha. The un vowel, the un which is prior to that refa lopaha, takes dirgha adesha. So this should be a term. When you see this dirgha un following a refa, means after that, if a refa is following that, then try to suspect this sandhi. Suspect this sandhi is coming. So this should really, if you do the padacheda, become dasharathi ramaha. So let's look at the rules quickly. So I think it's 8.3.14 is this one, rori. Anuvritti of lopaha comes. So refasya, refe parataha lopasyat. When you have refa following a refa, then the prior refa takes lopaha. And when that happens, immediately think of 63111, which says dralope purvasya dirghonaha. Dralope means dhakarasya atva refasya lope. When that is what is following, then purvasya anaha sthane dirgha adesha bhavati. So then let's put this in document quickly. So this is what is the sign of that. We see the refa or dhakara also, but in mostly when it's padanta sandhi, it will be refa only most of the time. And prior to that, you have this dirgha and is there. Then suspect that you might have this sandhi. Okay. So let's go and finish, put this in the document right here. So we have, what we have is, we have dashara, this really, dasharathi, and then we have Ramaha. So we used these, of course we use Sasajushoru as usual. Dasha Ra Thi Ramaha. By using the rules, Sasajushoru. Of course you can do the Upadesha Jananasika It. And following that, we used Rori. Refasya refe parataha lopasyat. Then dralope purvasya dirghonaha. Dralope purvasya dirghonaha. Sri Rama. Okay, that's what it is. So really, when you do the padacheda, what we really have, we have Dashrathe Ramaha. Okay, so let's look at this one. Dashrathe Ramaha Prasupta Bhujagendra Iva Bhishanam Bhayankaram. So what we can also do is that look at the Tingantam Padam is the Adade. 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 Adade is the Tingantam Padam. Dhatu is Da. Ada means to take. Da is to give. Ada means Grahanam. Jagraha. Adade means Jagraha. He took it. Oh, here it is. In fact, okay. Adade Jagraha. Is down to Jagraha. So again, you can expand the vocabulary. What he's telling, these simple things also you can notice them. Improve your vocabulary. What he's saying is that A plus Da is used in the sense of Dhatu Grah. Just, simple things, but it's good to notice. So Ada is same as Dhatu Grah. Because Malinatha is telling you that. He said Adade Jagraha. So somebody took something. So, who is that? It is Dasharathihi. Dasharathihi. Dasharatha's putra Dasharathihi. If you want, we can finish that part also. Is in the Tadhita land, which we saw earlier today. We start from 4176. Tadhitaha Adhikaraha Pravartate. So it's Tadhikaraha. In that, the very first meaning which Panini takes, the meaning in which Pratyaya comes, is called the Tasyapatyam. Tasyapatyam. The first meaning Panini takes. And this is very convenient because it goes to the end of 4.1. In fact, this is how the in the Ashtadhyayi, these Adhyaya Maryada, the Pada Maryada, this was made based on the logical breaks. Because Panini never says first Adhyaya, second Adhyaya, third Adhyaya. He uses only some word of some sutram, like we saw Prag Divyato An. So up to the word Divyat, Panini says. He doesn't say go to chapter 4, the fourth part, Chaturtha Padasya Dvitiya Sutra Paryantam. He doesn't say that. He only says Prag Divyato An. So never does he say that this Adhyaya, this Pada. So these were made probably after Panini. And how do they make these breaks? By seeing where a particular section ends, a new section begins. That's how they break. So this one, Tasyapatyam. This Adhikara goes up to end of 4.1. So if you have a Pratyaya anywhere in this language, which means a son of somebody, daughter of somebody, relationship of somebody, no, I shouldn't say relationship, son or daughter. Apatyam means should be son, daughter, offspring. It doesn't have to be the immediate offspring. It can be also grandson, all those kinds of, anybody who's born in that line. So for that, you have to come to this section, Tasyapatyam. Now, we already saw today earlier in the class that this Prag Divyato An is the Adhikara which goes up to 442, up to the word Divyat, 442. What we really have, you can work from both sides. Because we have, obviously, I think all of you know that the Sharatha is famous. So we all know that in this case, the Sharatha is the what's it called, a Prakriti. Prakriti means he is the one which takes the Pratyaya. So the Dasharatha we have Tasyapatyam, so is the Pratyanyas. And then we need to figure out what will give us this one, what will give us the form Dasharathi. Okay, that's what we want. Now, the default Pratyaya and will not do it for us. Because of the fact that, look at the ending E. If we use the Pratyaya and we are Dasharatha, we are a God. We cannot get Dasharathi from that. So now we have to look down here and see, can we find something down here which will give us. And as it turns out, and I have to know the answers, this is Ata Ing. Ata Ing. So what this means is that if you have Pratipadikam ending in short and the Angam is ending in short not Angam, Pratipadikam I should say, because don't forget that we are still in the Adhikar of Niya Pratipadikar. That is this Niya Pratipadikar. Okay, just to give you a quick overview. It's from 311, 312 starts Pratyaparascha. Pratyaparascha. So from this is the biggest adhikara in the Ashtadhyayi. This one. From Pratyaparascha is the biggest adhikara in the Ashtadhyayi. Says that from this 311, 312 to end of 5th chapter are all pratyas. And they come paraha. They come after the term which is being, to which they are being prescribed. Now after that, ni pratyaparascha, we from 411 starts niya pratipadika. That's a subset of pratyaparascha. It's a subset of adhikara. Niya pratipadika. So from here, from 4th chapter, 5th chapter, they only come after of this pratipadikam, or you can also have the feminine affixes ni or ap. Within that we have tadhitaha. So this is a further subset of that now. So this tadhitaha is a subset of pratyaha, parascha, and also niya pratipadikat. So what this sutram is saying is that if we have adantam pratipadikam 4195, then pratyaya should be in. Now we have Vishesha Vidhanam is done here. So the D for pratyaya, an will be overruled by this. Because the pragdivyat an only stays if nothing special is prescribed. This is specifically saying if we have adantam pratipadikam, use a pratyaya in. So 4195 we can use and then use this one pratyaya in. Okay, so 4195. Of course, now what do we need to complete this form? Let's see. When are you there? You can do this one, When, for us. What do we need? Unmute yourself. First thing we can do is the Adi Vriddhi, which we just saw today. 721. Taditeshu achamadehe. See, if the pratyaya has the ta varga panchama, which is na as an it, or the cha varga panchama, na as an it, in that case, you can do the Adi Vriddhi. So the dasha becomes dasha. Now we need to remove this one, which I know when you do know. Second thing, we can remove this nyas pratyaya with the same two rules which you saw before, which is krit, that is the samasascha, pradipadika sanya, and supo dhatu pradipadika yoho. I hope I have repeated this 1,000 times for you, so it can just be now easy. So it becomes, so the moment you form a samasa or tadisa pratyaya, that the entire term becomes the pradipadika sanya, and then anything which is any supratyaya inside that, it has to go. That is gone. So what we need from you, Vain, is how do I?
Two sutras that I know. It Yachibam.
Well, let me correct a typo here first. Ata in, because this sutram says ata in is the pratyaya is in, not ain. It is in. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's just continue. Yes. Which one do you know, Vain?
So we want Yachibam now.
Yachibam. We want Yachibam. So what Yashibham is saying is, again we saw 1418. Swadishu sarvanamasthane, Swadishva sarvanamasthane, Suadishu asarvanamasthane. If you have pratyaya which is Suadi, Suadi goes from 412 up to the end of 5th chapter. So we are right now in that section. And if the pratyaya is beginning with a yakara or an ach, the pratyaya we have right now is in, ajadi pratyaya. Then the angam is going to get the bhasanya. And when that happens, immediately it trips off the adhikara, bhasya adhikara.
6.
Then we have to go to 64129 and check the bhasya adhikara. And within the bhasya adhikara, so the moment you apply 1418 and get yachibham, then you can come to 64129 and look at the bhasya adhikara. And there sutram yascheticha, which Ben knows, which means that, which tells us that ivarnantasya avarnantasya bhasanyakasya angasya lopasyat tadite ikare cha pare. So that means that if you have a tadita pratyaya or the long e feminine, in that case that the angam takes lopaha, alontyasya means only the ending varna will take lopaha. In that case this is going to be, so we'll put all the numbers down here. So we're going to get this dasharati. Maybe we should keep it like this. Let's keep it like this. Let's keep it dasharatha plus plus the e. So just keep it like this over here, and then we will use this one to get dasharati here by dasharati by using the Yachibham, Yascheti cha, and of course alone just as usual. That's okay. So Dasharathasya apatyapuman Dasharathihi. Okay. So that's what we have. Going back to the verse, what we did was we had Dasharathi Ramaha. Then he is the Karta. He is the doer of that Adade. Notice one more thing. Notice two more things as a matter of fact. First, notice the word Viksha. Okay, now Viksha is the what we call as the Tvanta, this Pratyak Tva. The Tva becomes Lyap when we have a compounding. So Tva Pratyaya comes what? In Samana Kartrika Yoho Purvakale. Samana Kartrika Yoho Purvakale. So when you have a Samana Karta doing two actions, then the Purvavartini Kriya, whatever is dhatu of that, that is a Pratyak Tva. So when you see the Pratyaya and that Tva becomes Lyap when you have a compounding with the Upasarga or anything else which is coming before that, you get a compounding, you get the, so Viksha, let's finish the form Viksha. So idam padam Viksha, having seen this form Viksha, atra jnayate kopi samana karta asti, iyam cha purvartini kriya iti jnayate. So there must be a samana karta, and this must be the purvartini kriya. Uttaravartini kriya kriyayaha anveshanam kartavyam. Uttaravartinyaha kriyaha anveshanam kartavyam. You have to now find the Uttaravartini kriya. Actually, we already found it, which is the word Adade. So Viksham Adade. Adade. So having seen this, having seen something, he took it. Of course, clearly Dhanu is the object. It's obvious. Dhanu is Dhanus Pratipadikam. So even this is not a Prathama Ekvachanam, Ditya Ekvachanam. It is the karma of the word A. So both Viksha and Adade. Of both Viksha and Adade, having seen the bow, he grabbed it. He grabbed it. So this is what puts a very nice structure on the sentence. When you see the word this Tvanta Avyam, Tva Pratyaya, immediately you can go around and make the nice sentence structure. So find the Samana Karta. We've done this many times already. We have done this many times. Very useful. At least you got some pieces of the sentence. So let's finish this one, and then we look at this word Yena. So Yena, this Yat Pratyaya, Yat Padam, not say Yat Pradipadikam, I should say, excuse me, Yat Pradipadikam, when you have that, it means that there is a relative clause here. There's another clause. It's not the Mukhya Vakya, it's not the main sentence. There is some clause which is hanging on to it. So that may have its own Tingantam Padam. So, and that does have the word Asrujat. So that Asrujat, which is also of course, Lang Lakara, we'll come to it in a second. That's a Tingantam Padam. That's not the one you want to take first, because of the fact that that's in the relative clause of Yena. You don't want to take that one first, because that's only a clause which is going to add some meaning to the basic sentence. Okay, so leave that one for the time being. Second thing is that when you see this Pradipadikam Yat, then Tat Pradipadikam Kutra Asti iti Prashtavyam. Where is the Pradipadikam Tat to connect with that? Tat Sambandhi. So Yat Pada Sambandhi, Tat Pradipadikam Kutra Asti. Where is that? Oh, we have to see that. And here it says Yena Dhanusha is what clearly Malinatha says. Yena Dhanusha. So he does the job for us. Of course, that's why that's his function, I guess. So Yena Dhanusha. So immediately you know. So Yena Dhanusha, this Prashadvaja Shivaha, Banam Asujat, by which bow Lord Shiva released the arrow. That same bow, Dashrathi Sri Ramaha Adadeva. So this is how you can tackle this relative clause. So the Yena Dhanusha, the bow, so Tat. So basically this Tat Padam is going to come with Dhanu. And what we require Ditya Ekvachanam Napumsakalinga Rupam. So you're going to get the Pradipadikam Tat Tattetani Tattetani. Tat Dhanu. So this Tat Padam may not be there. Oh, here, I'm sorry, it is here. It is here. Tat Pasupta. Okay, it is right here. Tat. Okay, even if it was not there, even if this was not there, can still supply it. Okay. But it is here. So this is the thing. You see the yes pratipadikam. You know you're in the relative clause. You're not in the main sentence. So you can, this tingantam padam here is in the clause. Second thing is that look for the tat padam to connect with that. It may not be available sometimes. You have to make some adjustments. You have to find it from somewhere and bring it down here. Okay. So let's finish the form Viksha first. So Viksha comes in Gita also. Vikshate yoga yuktatma. Sarvatra samadarshanaha. So the dhatu iksh comes in Gita. Oh, hold on a second. So we have the what we have is we have V plus iksh iksh plus the pratyak twa. So it is the samanakritikayoho purvakale. I think there's 3, 4, maybe 21 or something. Yeah, 3, 4, 21. Samanakritikayoho purvakale. Anuvritti of the twa is coming down from here. So you got 3, 4, 21. So this is also a sequence which you have seen many, many times in the class already. 3, 4, 21. And then following that, we use samase anyang purve kto lyap. Samase anyang purve. So remember this sequence, please. 3, 4, 21, followed by 7, 1, 37. Samase anyang purve kto lyap. The twa becomes lyap when you have in a compound which is not dinyantat purusha. So if you have the kritva become akritva, it will not become a kritya. But anything except that kind of dinyantat purusha compound, any other compound, then the twa becomes lyap. The lyap, of course, halantyam, the shakvatadite, the ya shabda vashishyate, the ya, yakara vidyakara will be left behind, anubandha lope. So then we can get V plus iksh plus ya, viksha. And then, of course, akasama dirgha, you can get the form viksha. So remember these two, please. When you look at the lyap pratyaha, this one, this is the samana pratyakayoho purvakale. So I must have repeated this 100 times already. And then after that, you get the samase anyam purve tyolap. Tvo yap. Okay, this is the second thing. So we got that. Now the other thing, let's go back to the verse. What else do we need now? Okay, the form the day. The day. You want to do this for me? We can bring in our Abhyasa Samrat Vasu. Very simple word. Dhatu is da. We won't go through all this. Remember the first 4 steps we already saw today? So first being lakara. We won't put them on the board because we already did them a few times already. So what we do is that bring in the lakara which is lit. So we'll have the upasarga is pruthak padam. So we have da plus lit. Now remove the it letters. So halantyam upadesha ajjanunasika it. So anubandha lope lakara vashishyate. Also I mentioned to you by lashakvatadite that la should be an it, but it doesn't make any sense because that has no prayojanam, and also lasya dikara panini has, so it will not make any sense to remove the la itself. So we have da plus la. Next step is that we have to now bring in a pratyaya tiptasji or ta atamja, the paroksha lit. Paroksha lit means 99% only third person. So it will be either going to be ta atamja or tiptasji. Clearly in the verse you already have found the karta. Karta is Sri Ramaha, Dasharatihi is the karta. This clearly is first is saying ekavachanam. You have only 2 choices. Only 2 choices you have, which is going to be tip or ta. So either parasyapadam asti chet tip pratyaha. Asmapadam asti chet ta pratyaha. Now if you bring in the tip, we already saw tip becomes null by 3482, but null atus us, which we don't have here. It's ending in the de. So it's not going to be tip. It's going to be ta pratyaha. So and of course we can also do the abhyasa karyam, which you already saw by 618. Liti dhatoho anabhyasasya. Liti dhato anabhyasasya. So doing all those, taking some, skipping some steps on the board here. We have okay. We have da, ta. Okay. So what we have used so far only is we have used 618. Iti dhatu anabhyasasya. We have used 3478. Tiptajit tamja. Now what we need is that we need to convert that. So let's scan the remaining of 3.4. Is there some other rule in 3.4 that we can use? Lit sambandhi karyam. Is there? In fact, it's the very next rule, I think. No, 81. Well, 3481 says, in fact, anuvritti of litaha was coming from the rule parasya padanam nalatus us. Anuvritti of litaha was coming there. So we already used anuvritti of litaha when we did the null atus us. Anuvritti of lit was coming from this prior sutram 3, which you're going to use now, 3481. What does it say? Litas thajayor eshirech. Litaha tajayoho eshirech. So if you have a lit pratyaya ta or ja in place of the yatha sankham, so adesho bhavataha. Get two adesha. What are they? Kau adesho. It's going to be esh and irech. So the adesha here is esh. So in place of ta, adesha is esh. Esh adesha. Now what is the function of that talavya sha, the nit over there? Because normally we get the alone gesture. That the adesha should only replace the ending letter. We've seen this many times. If we do that, we'll not get the right form. Because right now what do we have? We have the pratyaya ta. If you only remove the end, if you only replace the ending letter, antasya alah sthane eva adesha yadi syat, tarhi te iti rupam siddhyeta. We'll get the form te. We don't want that. We want to replace the entire. Atra sarvadesha ishyate. We want sarvadesha to come. So we need something to stop 1152. And clearly, if you look below 1152, the 1155 says anekashis sarvasya. If the adesh has anekal, or it has this talavya sha as an it, in that case it replaces the entire sthani. So that is why Panini put the adesha as esh. Of course, the shakara has it sanya by halantyam. Such prayojanam sarvadeshartham. Esha adesha shitkritaha. It is made as a sure as an it to stop the alone gesture and bring in that. So let's do that. So once we do that, we now get the form, because this is our fourth step, right? To scan the rest of 3.4. And is there any rule which will do any transformation of these pratyayas based on the lakaraha? That's what we did. So we got this one, 3481, along with 1155, anek ashit sarvasya. Got that. Now let's bring in Vasu, a simple word for him. All we need is to get da into the, because look at the final answer. Final answer is a, the, de. So we want to get, of course, a is upasarga. So we want to get this da into the. I think Vasu knows the answer to that. Yes, Vasu?
Hrisva.
Hrasvaha.
Hrisva.
So in the abhyasa bhagaha, any vowel becomes short. Hrasvaha. Very simple rule. So that da will become the. So akarasya sthane hrasvakaraha adesho bhavati. So that's very simple. So 7459. We can use that and make it into the, da, a. 7459. As I also mentioned to you a few times, is that the lakara prakriya is the heart of Panini. So it is ashtadhyayaha sararupam. So ashtadhyaya sararupam. It is the essence of ashtadhyaya in terms of angakaryam and all that. There's a lot of interactions going on. I shouldn't say sararupam, but if you can do the thing in the prakriya, then you can get the angakaryam, the gist of angakaryam very quickly. So we need one last thing. What do we need when to do now? To get the form. We're looking at the form the, they. What do we need when to get that?
So we want to, the da should become de. See, is it adguna?
No, there will vriddhi rechi at the most, become dai at the most. We want de. So da plus a equals de. What do we need to get that?
The a should drop.
Very good. Atra akara lopa ishyate.
Yes.
Very simple. But
Yes.
can you think of a rule for that?
Alonkasya.
That's the paribhasha. We need atolopa iticha.
Atolopa.
Atolopa iticha. Let's look at that word. Atolopa iticha. 6464, which you looked at many times.
64.
6464. A lot of background noise. You remember mute the section. So 6464. Atolopa iticha. What the Sutram is saying is that if we have Adantamangam, which we do have, we have the da. Following by pratyaya, which is ajadi kitnit, which is this kiniti anuruti is coming down, achi kiniti. So ajadi kitnit pratyaya if we have, which we do have. Okay. Now how do we know that? Because the pratyaya was ta became a, where the kit pratyaya kutra asti? Kittam katham nyayate kittam atra. How do you know this is a ka as an it? We didn't have that. We brought the pratyaya. All we did was we brought the pratyaya ta became into a. We didn't have any kas in it. For that we have to go to 125, which is asanyoga litkita. Asanyoga litkita. So what the sutram says is that if you have no sanyoga preceding, which we don't have right now, we have only da. Then if the pratyaya is apit litkit syat, from the prior sutram, apit is coming down. So if you have a pratyaya which doesn't have pers in it, we have only the pratyaya ta that has no pers in it. And if it is such a lit pratyaya, then it becomes kit. So that is considered as a kit pratyaya. So one more time, asanyogat lit kit. So asanyogat vidyamanaha apit lit pratyaya kit syat. It becomes kit. So we use that 125 in conjunction with 6464. Atolopa iticha. Atolopa is an important sutra which has come many times for us. 6464. So we can now do the akar lokaha. So then we finally get, which is said is, so we'll get the a, the day. So we used the asanyoga litkita. Then ato lopa iticha, get the day. Okay, so that's the form the day. In Bhagavad Gita, we don't have the form, any Atmanipada lit form we don't have in Gita. Unfortunately, Gita can help us to get this. Gita only has Punasyapadam lit form. It doesn't have Atmanipada lit form. But we do have the dhatu iksh. Ikshate yoga yukta atma. Sarvata samudrasha. I think it comes in one or two places. Ikshate. Here it is. So 6.29 Gita. Ikshate. So dhatu iksh should be known to iksh. Okay. Now let's continue with this verse. Just see what the commentary is saying. So far, what do we have? So, Dashrati Ramaha. So, the Bhishanam, this is a big compound here. Tat Dhanuho, which is the Supta Bhujagendra Bhishanam. Okay, let's tackle this one now. This clearly is an adjective for Dhanuho. Okay, now, what does Mulyasa say? Prasupta Bhujagendra Iva Bhishanam. Bhujagendra iva bhishanam. Okay. Now, what kind of compound will that be? Prasupta Bhujagendra iva bhishanam. Now, unfortunately, what is compound is that the commentator will not give you clearly this is karmadharya or this is this and this is that. Unfortunately, we have to be able to know the vigraha vakyam. All he's saying is the vigraha vakyam is Prasupta Bhujagendra iva bhishanam. Bhishanam equals Bhayankaram, qualifying Tad Dhanuho. So he does give you Bhisham is Bhayankaram. He gives that word Bhisham Bhayankaram. Now, but he doesn't tell you what kind of compound this is. Anybody guess? Anybody, what could this be? It's really not a compound. Yes.
This is Shashti. No, Bhujaganam Indra.
Oh no, I'm talking between this and this. Prasupta Bhuja. We'll come to this. We'll break this down later.
Okay.
So now, what is between this and this? What compound do you have? It's a karmadharya compound. Because the he is the Bhishanam is Samajikaranam with Prasupta Bhujagendra. So Prasupta Bhujagendra is Bhishanam. So he's scary, like a king serpent who is asleep. Bhujagendra, Indra means Mukhya, so leader, chief. Bhujaga is, one who goes on his arms, so to speak, one who crawls. So Bhujagendra. So Prasupta is qualifying. So here we have a Karmadharya compound. Prasupta Bhujagendra, a sleeping serpent king. This is a straightforward compound. No need to. Dhatu is swap. A lot of grammar here. Let's do a little bit of grammar. So dhatu is swap. Swap becomes supta. So what happened is samprasaranam. Samprasaranam. So what has happened is that the dhatu swap we have dhatu swap, and we add the pratyakta to it, and we got samprasaranam. We got the form supta. Supta. So supta means that the vakara has become a ukara, became supta. So when the reverse of yan sandhi, igyanas samprasaranam, in the place of yan, if you see an ik, that's called samprasaranam. Even the process, the prakriya, is also called samprasaranam, the operation. So so igyanas samprasaranam is only a sanya sutram. It don't tell you what samprasaranam means, but so let's look at that. Igyanas samprasaranam. Let's see. I can search for that. Igyanas samprasaranam. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the Bhagavad Gita right now. Ashtadhyaya. Okay. Igyanas samprasaranam. Here it is. It's 1145. Igyanas samprasaranam. So if the ik, which comes in place of yan, yana sthane, yes, that's samprasaranam sanya. But the two sutram which you want to immediately think of when we talk of samprasaranam is 6, 1, 15, 16. Should be always at the back of your mind. Samprasaranam means come to 6, 1, 15, 16. They list 20 dhatus. Vimshatihi dhatavaha. So ganyante. So the 20 dhatus are counted here. Which are what? Vachi, Swapi, Yajadinam Kiti. In fact, our answer is right here because the dhatu swap is already here. We already got the answers we need. But anyway, so Vachi, Swapi, Yajadinam Kiti. So Vach and Swap, these two dhatu. Yajadinam. Yajadi are the last 9 dhatus in Bhuvadi or Yajadis. The last 9 dhatus of the Bhuvadi Gana, Yajadi dhatus. So these 11 dhatus, 2 plus 9, they take samprasaranam. When the kit pratyaya follows, actually we already got our answer because the dhatu swap is in the 6, 1, 15, and the pratyakta clearly lashakvatadite has occurs in it. So we just have to use that sanya sutram 45, 6, 1, 15. We do only one more thing that we need is samprasaranacha. Samprasaranacha. Let's come to that. We'll go to that in a second. Why do we need that samprasaranacha? For the fact that samprasaranam is only in place of the va. See, when you take the swap, is what we have swap. Swap is equal to really sa, va, then then pa, and then you have of course the anubandha lope. So only this vakara becomes u. This akara is still there to be dealt with. So now if you leave it there as it is, it will go back by yan sandhi, it will go back to vakara. So just making the va into u, into u, will have no prayojana. We need to somehow account for this akara here also. So what 61108 does for us is that it does the purva parayoho ekadeshaha is the purva rupam. Samprasaranacha. We are in the adhikara of purva parayoho. Eka purva parayoho. So between these two elements, which are what samprasaranat, so following is samprasaranam, right? So with that and the following if you look at the vritti of 61108, look at that for 1 second. Samprasaranat. The moment you do samprasaranam, you always think of 61108, samprasaranat. See what it has to say. What it's saying is that you have to go to the Praya Sutram. Okay. Samprasaranad achiparataha. So we have samprasaranam preceding and ach following. Then pura parayoho sthane purva rupam ekadesha bhavati. Okay. So do we have that right now? We do have that. Because we have the va will take Samprasaranam as u. Following that, we have an ach, is a. So between these two, between that u and the there will be ekadesha of the pura rupam, which is the u. That's how we get supta. Okay. So this is this so 6115, 6116, and 61108 Samprasarana. That's the gist of Samprasaranam for you. Now quickly complete this. What was 6116 by the way? 6116 was saying that if you have the okay, so 6116 gives another 9 dhatus. Grahijya, Vai, Vyadhi, Vashti, Vachati, Vrishchati, Prichati, Prijati, Nancha. Niticha. So these 9 dhatus take samsaram kiti athva niti pare. They take samsaram when kit or nit pratyaya follows. This one only takes samsaram. These first 11 take samsaram only when kit pratyaya follow. Right now we have pratyaya kta, so we are fine. But these 20 dhatus are divided into 2 sutras. But the first 11 take samsaram only kiti parataha. Kiti pratyaya parataha. While the second 9 list of 9 take samprasaranam niti kiticha, so they can take both. Okay, so that's samprasaranam. So that's a little bit of grammar for you on the on that one. Now coming, so prasupta, one is sleeping. One more quick point over here. We normally give this misnomer. We call them past passive participle. Past passive participle. Now this is not passive. It cannot be passive. But this is akarmaka dhatu. So it cannot be slept on. No. So sleeping, he has to be sleeping. For example, dhatu stha, atra sthitaha. He's standing here. He's not standing on. He's standing. He's the karta. So this Bhujagendra is a karta. He is sleeping. So how do you make it like that? So because let's go to this. See, any krut pratyaya as in default is kartari krit. Always think of the sutram kartari krit. So the pratyakta which is brought in by the sutram nishtha is the krit pratyaya, and that should be kartari. But that has an apavada below that, which is tayoreva krityakta kharathaha. Tayoreva means bhavakarmanoho eva. So these kritya and the kta and the pratyaya khal in the meaning of khal will be only in the passive. So the kta pratyaya is, that's why we call it passive participle kta. But we don't want that. We don't want the passive. We want to go back to the active. So then the sutram below 3472 says gatyartha akarmaka shlish shing stha as vasa jana ruha jiryati bhyascha. So these dhatus, they can become active. So anything in the sense of motion, gatyartha, like Ramaha vanam gataha. Rama has gone to the forest. Doesn't mean that Rama has been gone to it. Could have been. You can also say Ramena vanam gatam. This is that the forest was gone to by Ramaha. Gatyarthas, they can go like active or passive. Akarmaka, of course, we just saw. We cannot be, because there is no karma there. So supta like that. And there are some other dhatu listed here, which will also can take the active forms. So remember the sequence. First stop, kartari krit, 3467. Next stop, tayoreva krityakta khalathaha. The krita pratyaya is passive. Third stop, no, we're stuck in the wrong place. No, we don't want to be stuck here. So we need to get out of that. So we have to come here. Gatyartha karmaka shlishing stha asvasa jana ruha jiryati bhyascha. So by this sutram 3472, this form suptaha is actually an active form for suptaha, an active form. So by 3472, it's an active form by 3472. Okay. So now let's go back to the shloka, what we have. So prasupta is clearly qualifying the Bhujagendra. So Bhujaganam Indraha. He is the leader of Bhujaga. Bhujaga is Upada Samasaha, one who goes on his hands, so to speak. He crawls on his hands. So Bhujaga, the Upada Samasa. Let's go there quickly. So Bhujaga is Dhatu. From Upada Samasa, we start from 2 to 19. 2 to 19 and Upapada Mating. So why do we, what is the Upapadam Samasa in English, simple English, is that when you have this dhatu taking pratyaya, which is conditional upon compounding, this pratyaya, this dhatu gam becoming ga, is conditional upon the compounding. So this ga shabdaha will not have swatantriyam. Upapadam vina, we cannot do this get the you just use, you cannot say gacchati tigaha. Gacchati tigaha iti vaktum na shakyate. So we have to have that bhuja or somebody else over there to make it. That's called upapada samasa. When you only bought the pratyaya from this dhatu, conditional upon upapada being there, it cannot stand alone. You cannot strip it off. That's what defines upapada samasa. So bhuja ga you have. So this sutra is upapada mating. Now, because if you want to form any compound in this language, you have to start from 2, 1, 2, 2. All these samasa vidhayaka sutrani. Dvitiyasya adhyayasya prathame pade, dvitiya pade cha grijyante. They're collected in that section. So always the first step to form any compound, you have to find a sutram in 2.1 or 2.2, samasa vidhayaka sutram. But then it says upapada mating. All this says if you have a qualified upapada, it can be compounded with another term. It doesn't have to be a subanta term. See, normally in samasa you have supa. So you need a subantam, another subantam. You can compound it, like rajnya purusha, like that. But here, upapada mating, upapada is qualified. You can have a second term which is not a subanta ready as yet. You can compound as long as you're not from a tingantam padam. Now how do we know which upapadas are qualified, which dhatu say, which pratyayas? For that we go to 3192, which says tatropapadam saptamistham. Tatropapadam saptamistham. In this tritiya dhatu adhikari, what is saptamistham? That is can qualify the upapadam. And then from 321 to 32100 come most of them. And in there is a dhatu, for the dhatu gam, sutam gamascha. So gamascha. So dhatu gam is given here. And then the 3248 says that the dhatu gam can take the pratyaya da, as long as one of these is upapadas, which is what? Anta, atyanta, advan, dura, para, sarva, ananteshu. Unfortunately, the word bhuja is not there. We cannot use that. So we cannot use that. So now, what do we do now? We cannot use that. So now we have to look at the Vyakhyanam. Hopefully, to give us something which we can extend that. We need to extend that. Atideshaha. To extend that one. So this one says that now he gives some urasa gacchati. He gives uragaha. That is fine. So let's look at the first of the vritti. Anta atyanta advan dura para sarva ananta iti eteshu karmasu upapadeshu. Upapada is karma. So we don't even have that. We can say bhuja abhyam gacchati or bhujaihi gacchati. But then there is a vartikam here. Da prakarane, in this pratyaya da is being prescribed, you have to add some more things. What does he add? Sarvatra panna pannayor upasankhyanam. Sarvatra and panna. Sarvatragaha pannakaha. Okay? But even that won't help us. We need something. We want to get the form bhujaga. So he says sarvatragaha pannakaha. Then he says uraso lopascha. Urasa gacchati uragaha. Because uras is there, takes sakar lopaha. Urasa gacchati. But that gives the form uraga. we don't still that doesn't help us. But then in the end he says apare aha. Some people are saying that da prakarane anyeshopi drishyate iti. So we have to include some other words in this da prakarane, in this sutram, this 3248. We need to extend this list. We cannot explain the shishta prayogaha which is coming. So that's why he gives word like striyagaragaha, one who visits the women's quarters. Striyagaragaha. Then gramagaha, one who goes to the village. Gurutalpagaha is a very bad term. One who defiles the guru's couch, means one who basically has intercourse with the guru's wife is what it means. Gurutalpagaha. So these terms, they could not be formed because they were not in this list anywhere. So by the Vyakhyanam Asmakam Sharanam, we have to extend this list so to include the word like bhuja. So you can say bhujabhyam, athva, like same like urasa gacchati. This is what we need. Only instead of urasa gacchati, we can say bhujaihi gacchati, athva bhujabhyam gacchati, bhujabhyam bhujabhyam. So he goes by means of his hands. He goes. So that's what we have. So we use 3 to 40. The pratyaya here is da. Pratyaya is da. Now how can we complete this form now to get the form bhujaga? So I think we can use. So if we use bhu, ja, and we can probably use the bhyam. I'm guessing bhyam, titiya, plus the pratyaya gam, and then we can use the pratyaya da. But if you want to confirm any of this, I'm sure the Amar Kosha, you probably have the word bhujaga. If you give me 1 second, you can check out Amar Kosha. We're working on the Amar Kosha online, whether we're going to have it soon. It's not ready yet. It's there, we have it, but it's not in a form that we like to use. So we're going to add some bells and whistles to that, make it more user-friendly. So bhujaga, let me see if bhujaga is there. Bhujaga, yeah, it's there. Let me confirm the Vigraha Vakyam from that, 89, number 6. See, how the trick in this language is to have these books handy, so, and you don't have to use them. That'll help us a lot. This is what it says, Sarpaha and Bhujagaha. Okay, Bhujagaha. Let's see. So Bhuja Kautilye, Yupadatvat Kaha, Bhujaha San Gacchati. No, Bhujagaha, Anyatra Itijaha. Okay, so he says that Anyatra Vidrushati Itijaha. So, oh, he's taking a different Bhujaha San Gacchati. So he is a hand and he goes. Okay, so he is a Bhujaha and he goes. So he's not going by, because that's why I suspected this one. Because the snake doesn't have any hand. So he doesn't really have any hand. So pratyaya being used is that pratyaya being used is sup. So he's like a hand that goes. Interesting word. So the Vigraha Vakyam Amar Kosha, this Amar Kosha commentary, Bhujaha San Gacchati, and he quotes the Sutram Anyatrapi Drishyate. This is what 3248. So pratyaya was right. And he has given that extension of 3248. So because it's Urasa Gacchati, he goes by his chest. But Bhuja Gacchati, he's like a hand that moves. So Bhuja Hastan Gacchati. So gum. Okay, now what do we need? Of course, as usual, when we form a compound, we'll remove the vibhakti, which is pratyaya, supratyaya, which is inside here. So we do the usual step, kruttanta samasascha, supo dhatu pradibadikayoho, which you've done many times now already. So we get bhuja plus gum plus da. Now what we need is to get the T lopaha. Need to remove first one the da anubandha lope by chutu, the adi dakara sit sanya. So we get only anubandha lope akara avashishyate. We get the by chutu, and so that's what we have. And now what we need is to remove that ambhaga of gum. If we can take a T lopaha, that will finish the job for us. We get bhujaga. Now the T lopa is done by Sutram 6443 called Te here. Unfortunately, that Sutram comes in the Bhasya Adhikara. The Bhasya which we saw today already is a Sutram Yachibham. Yachibham requires a pratyaya which is Swadi pratyaya to follow. Swadishu asarvanamasthane yachi. Bhasanya bhavati. But right now we are not in the Swadi. Swadi starts from 412, end of chapter 5. Yes, Sosu?
Satishji,
yeah.
The Pratipadikam there is Bhuj or Bhuja?
It is Bhuja. Let me get, I'm sorry, it's a typo. Thank you. Bhuja. Thank you. Bhuja. Okay. Now, okay. Now coming back here is that this is in the Bhasya Adhikara. We don't have Bhasanya right now, but we want the T lopaha. If you look at the Vyakhyana of the Sutram is that now this does and it can have no other prayojanam except T lopaha. So dit karana samarthyat athva anubandha karana samarthyat abhasyapi te lopaha. So this is what the Vyakyanam says. Diti abhasyapi anubandha karana samarthyat ti lopa bhavati. Is that when dit pratyaya follows, even if there is no bhasanya for the angam, we get dit ti lopaha. By anubandha karana samarthyat. The fact that the da was made as an it, Panini must mean that the ti lopa has to be done. Can only be done by 64143. So we extend that sutram and we then get the form. So with the ti lopa achontyadi ti. So the bhagaha is the ti bhagaha. To get the ti bhagaha, you start with the last vowel in the term and go to the end of the term, and we get bhu, ja, tast, ga, tastyakara, bhujaga. So we use 64143 with the anubandha karana samarthyat. So bhujaga. So what do we have now? We have prasupta bhujaga is clearly a karmadharya. So we can make bhujagendra as a compound first. So we did bhujaga first. Upavada samasa. We did bhujagendra. So bhujaganam indraha. So shrestha. Like the king, raja. King of serpents. So then after that we make a karmadharya compound prasupta bhujagendra. He is a sleeping bhujagendra. So between prasupta and bhujagendra is a karmadharya compound. One more time. Bhujaga is uppada samasa. Bhujagendra is shashti tatpurushaha. Then prasupta bhujagendra is a karmadharya. And one more karmadharya compound. Prasupta bhujagendra iva bhishanam. Bhayankaram. Okay. Now, what kind of karmadharya compound is this? This is what is called as the upama is there. The word iva is there. This is like the word megha shamaha. Megha iva shamaha. So he is dark like a cloud. So in the Ashtadhyayi in 2.1, I think 2.1 around 55ish, this is called sutram upamanani samanya vachanaihi. Then upamanam is there, and the samanya vachanam means samana dharmaha, which is the common quality. The common quality between the upama and upameya. What is the common quality? That can be compounded with the upamanam. So what do we have here now? We have the prasupta bhujagendra. That is the upamanam. Okay. And who is the upameya? Is Sri Ramaha is the one. And what is, I'm sorry, excuse me. It is dhanuho. Because it is the bow being compared to the bhujagendra. And what is the samana dharmaha? Samanya vachanam is bhishanam. So both of them are scary. They cause fear. So dhanuho was also bhishanam, and so was the prasupta bhujagendra was also bhishanaha. So that is a samanya dharmaha. So this samanya dharmaha can be compounded with the upamanam to form a special kind of karmadharya compound. So you need to know some of this, because see, the Vigraha Vakyam we only got this much. Prasupta bhujagendra iva bhishanam. The moment you see this iva, so this is a lesson for us for today. The moment you see this iva in the Vigraha Vakyam like that, you think of these two rules. This is 2155, 2156. Okay. 2155 says upamanani samanya, which you just saw. Samanya vachana iti. And the megha shyama is example for that. Megha shamaha means that megha iva shamaha. 56 says upamitam vyaghradibhye samanya prayoge. Samanya aprayoge, like the purusha vyaghra is the example for that. Purusha vyaghra iva. So in the 2156, the samanya sya aprayogaha means he is like a lion. We don't know because of what, shuratvat or whatever. We don't know that. So when we form that kind of compound, then the upamitam comes first. The person who is being compared comes first. We say purusha vyagraha. Purusha is the main padam. Purusha vyagraha iva. That vyagra is only the upamanam. The upama only is there. He goes second. And the samanya dharma is not there. Prayoga is not there. So therefore, that's in the second class of 2156. But both are in the Vigraha Vakyam, you will have the word iva. So the first case you will have megha iva shamaha. Prasupta Bhujagendra Iva Bhishanam. In the second case, you will have Purusha Vyagra Iva. Purusha Vyagra Iva. So the key to this is that, is the Samanya Prayoga there or not? If it is there, 2155. If it is not there, 2156. In our case, we have the word Bhishanam. Bhishanam is the Samanya Prayoga, and that means 2155. So one more time, if you see the term Iva in the Vigraha Vakyam of a compound, then immediately think of 2155, 2156. We're running out of time, but let me maybe give you some homework and wrap up some things here. So that's the lesson for the samasa for today, is that if the Vigraha Vakyam office samasaha has the term Iva, then look at 2155, 56. Okay, so that's the lesson for today. That Iva is the key term. Iva is the key term. So that is what will signal to you. So next time when you have this, there should be no surprise. You can, and then of course between that, if you have Samanya Prayoga, 55, Samanya Prayoga, Sichet, 56. Okay, let's see if we can wrap up some things here. We have the word Bhishanam. Let's do this one last word and we'll wrap it up. So Bhishanam. So this dhatu is Bhi. Bhi is dhatu, is Vibheti, to be afraid. But Bhishanam is one who causes fear. When who causes fear. When who causes fear himself, not through an instrument or something like that. Even just in yesterday's class, you're doing this word Bhishanam. Anybody was in yesterday's class? What we have here is that we have the Shuk Agamaha. Shuk Agamaha. What we have is we have the dhatu Bhi, and then we have the Pratyaya Nich. Because one who's causing fear, Nich. So Bhishayate iti Bhishanaha. So one who causes fear. Now in the meanwhile what happens, so this is Hetu Matya. So he is the one who's the causing fear, Okay. Now in the Ashtadhyaya there are 3 rules called Hetu Bhaye. This term called Hetu Bhaye. Hetu Bhaye. Hetu Bhaye. Okay. Let me look at this. Hetu Bhaye. Okay. Hetu Bhaye. Okay. Now one of them is 3156. Vibheter Hetu Bhaye. What it does is that it does an optional akara adesha for the following the dhatu. So this anuvritti is of no is coming of no. If the nich pratyaya follows, and if the dhatu is bhi, and if it's hetu bhaya means that one which is causing the fear he is causing fear by himself, not through somebody else. In that case, it takes the akara adesha vikalpena. We don't have that. We have the bhisha. Atra akara na dushyate, na shruyate. There is no akara here. But it's optional. It's bhisha. Now when that akara does not happen, then comes the is bhiyo hetu bhaye shuk. That's what we need right now. Is that if it's when the akara, so ikarantasya, so bhi dhatoho. So bhiyaha hetu bhaye shuk takes the shuk agvaha in hetu bhaye, and so this also anuvritti is coming of the from the pratyaya niti is coming. I think no is coming from here also. Anuvritti of nich, no is coming down here. Nich pratyaya follows. It is in the hetu bhaye. Dhatu is bhi. It has not taken the akara adesha of 6156, and then the shuk agamaha comes. So now what we can do here is add the 7340, and now we get bhish plus the shuk, of course, means the adyantau takitau. So the ka and it puts it at the end, so we get the bhi, sha, and then the pratyaya nich, of course, chutu halantyam, only e is left behind, so you got bhi, shi. So this is 7340. 7340. This only applies when there is no akaradeshaha by 6156. Okay, in that pakshe, in that case only it applies. 6156. And so then we get the form, we get the dhatu bhishi. So bhishi is a new dhatu. Bhishi is new dhatu. By 3132, this gets the dhatu sanya. By the sanadyanta dhatavaha. We need to get the dhatu sanya new. Dhatu bhi was in dhatu pasha. Bhishi is not in dhatu pasha. So we need to get dhatu sanya with 3132. This is all the derived dhatus from 315 up to 3132 with the dhatu sanya. Sanadyanta dhatavaha. Sanadyanta dhatavaha. So from 31 sanadi, from 315 to this, from this sun up to here, and we use 3126 hetumati cha nich, new dhatu sanya, and we want to get the form bhishanam. For that we have to use this nandyadi, this gana. So nandi grahi pachadibhyo liu ninyachaha yatha sankham. Nandyadi gana dhatus will take the pratyaya liu. The grahiyadi dhatu will take the pratyaya nini, and the pachadi will take the pratyaya ach. And this is kartarikrit default, nothing overruling it. So this is kartariya. They create agent adjectives. So when you say bhishanaha, it's bhishayati iti bhishanaha, one who causes fear, one who is basically scary. So now we can use 3134 as part of Nandyadi Gana, and then let's see by any chance we can find the word Nandyadi, if we can find the word Bhishanam over here. It may not be there, because it is all these ganas are allowed to be, some expansions allowed. Let's see what he gives to you. Nandanaha, Vasanaha, Madanaha, Dushanaha, Sadhanaha, Vardanaha, Shobanaha, Rochanaha, Sahanaha, Tapanaha, Damanaha, Jalpanaha, Ramanaha. Ramana Maharshi, right? One who pleases others. Ramanaha, Darpanaha, Sankandanaha, Sankarshanaha, Janardanaha, Yavanaha. Oh, Vibhishanaha. Vibhishana is there. Okay. Vibhishana is there. Lavanaha. So yes, we had, even though we didn't have the word Bhishana, we have Vibhishanaha. So Vibhishana comes from this word, but Vibhishana is one who, Visheshena. So Vibhishayate iti Vibhishanaha. One who scares, I guess, one who scared the Rakshasa themselves, I guess. Anyway, so we do have the word Vibhishana. So we can use 3134, Nandyadi, add the pratyaya liu. So Nandyadi, we can take, we can make it be she plus liu. Plus liu. Of course, in the liu, you can remove the lashakvatadite, lo is an it, and make yuvaranaka. This was 31134 that we just used. And then make it into yuvaranaka, that u becomes ana. So Sutra 711 says you wore, so in place of you and wu, respectively. The adesha is anaka, ana and aka. So u becomes ana, wu becomes aka. So becomes bhi, she, ana. Now all we need now is to do the ikar lopa, and we are all set. Last thing for today. And Niraniti, simple sutram Niraniti, 66451. What does that say is that if you have a nich pratyaya, nehe, ni pratyaya, followed by a pratyaya which is ardhadhatuka, but doesn't have the idagamaha. Idagama only comes when the pratyaya is valadi. Valadi pratyaya. What do we have? We have the pratyaya ana. Ana is not valadi. So yatra itna sambhavati. So tasmat nehe lopasyat. The nich pratyaya takes lopaha. If anidadav ardhatuke pare, anidadav ardhatuke pare ne lopasyat. Anid adav ardhatuke pare ne lopasyat. So that's what becomes. So we get the nich lopaha, 6451. So this e goes away. we get the form Bhishana, and finally we'll have to make the Nattam by Atkupvanim Vavayati. We get Bhi, Sha, No. So we use 6451 along with 842, which is Atkupvanim Vava. So what is the Nimittam is the Murdanya Shakaraha, and between that Vyavadhanam is only the Akarasa Vyavadhanam. That's the At in At Pratyahara. So you can do 842 Bhishana. Okay. So next time let's look at the list of homework. Next time we'll write the form Bhayankaram next time. That I'll tell you that next time. So Tad Dhanuho Adadej, we already did that. Jagraha. Now this is talking about Vrusha Dhvajaha is Vrusho Dhvajaschinnam Yasyat. Bahuvri compound. We can read it up maybe. Try to say on your own simple Bahuvri compound. Only thing is that Dhvaja is Chinnam. One whose emblem is the bull is Shivaha. So Lord Shivaha, one whose emblem is the bull. Saha Shivaha, Yena Dhanusha. By which bow? So and then he takes the compound Vidruta Kratu Mriga Anusaranam. So this is a arrow which is Anusaran, which is following the Mriga, a deer, which is the form of Kratu, which is the form of this sacrifice which ran away. This is Daksha Yajnaha. When Daksha performed the Yajnaha, which was, destroyed by Lord Shiva, he did so. At that time, the Yajna itself took the form of a Mriga and ran away out of Bhayat. So he ran away. So Lord Shiva's arrow chased him. So he says this Banam is Anusaranam, is chasing the Mriga. Mriga, which is the Kratuhu, which is the sacrifice, which is Vidruta, which is running away. He says Kratureva Mugraha. So the Mriga was the Kratu itself. It's a Karmadharya compound. And we'll do this next time in detail. And he goes on to say, Vidrutam is Palayitam, running away. Kratu Mrigam Anusarati. So becomes a Upada Samasaha. Vidruta Kratu Mriga Anusaranam. And then that's all it says, Mamocha. And he says, Asujat is Mamocha. Asujat means release, Dhatu Suraj. Is to release. Asujat, he just changed the Lakara for Mamocha. Okay, so this week we'll do a translation next time. I'll do it quickly just so by which bow Lord Shiva released an arrow which was chasing this sacrifice which are running away in the form of a deer. So by which bow Lord Shiva did that same bow, Shri Ramaha, son of Dasharatha, he took that, he grabbed it, having gazed upon it, gazed upon it, which was like a sleeping king serpent, which was very scary. Okay, so let's stop with that. The Mangalacharanam will continue next time. Ramo Raja Manis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Vaje Ramena Bhiyata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Parayanam Parakaram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittare Sada Bhotame Bho Rama Mamudhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varadane Shri Rama Nama Varadana Mundam. When we're okay?
Yep, I agree.